Good morning and welcome everybody to the Habits, Happiness, and Health Show. I am Susie B. I am your host and I'm so thrilled that you guys are here. Thank you for tuning in today to pick up a little bit of help on your health, your happiness, and your habits. I am happy to work with you today and help you to find a couple of things that might help you succeed in different aspects of your life, starting with yourself. Last week, I talked about my simplified program of how to form habits in 3 easy steps. Right now, I just want to quick recap that so that you know what we're talking about today. Step number 1 is your one pillar, your one focus area. By choosing one area to focus on, you are able to not only allow yourself a little bit of freedom, but also you're giving your brain permission to go all in on this one thing. It doesn't mean everything else in your life has to stop. It just means you're really honing in on this one area. So that's just step number 1. Step number 2 is your 2 superpowers. When I say that your brain is going all in, I mean your conscious and subconscious. We're going to learn how to harness these 2 powers together. And once we do, not only do our efforts matter today, but they become habitual and they go long into the future without time, without effort, without energy. That's how we save ourselves, by focusing on that one pillar. How do we harness those 2 superpowers? By step number 3, forming 3 habits. So we've got our one focus, our 2 superpowers, and our 3 habits. Today, I want to talk to you about 3 habits for mental health. The month of December, the theme of this show is going to be mental health. And so what I want you to think about today is, what do you need in your life? This is December, and for most of us, that means the end of the year. That means the holidays. That means the busiest time of year, which means you are crazy swamped with lots of responsibilities. Perhaps you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all the things you feel like you need to do. So here is my habit tip for today. Slow down. Slow down. Slow down your way. I'm not talking about slow down everything, because you still have all those things to get done. But I want you to take 5 minutes every day in the month of December and slow down. What does that mean? That means I want you to take 5 minutes, whether you have 5 minutes during the day or whether you don't. If you don't have 5 minutes, if you are that swamped, wake up 5 minutes earlier, because this will be worth your time. If you do have 5 minutes during your day, schedule it out, plan it. Every day after my kids get on the bus, I have 5 minutes before I go to work. That's going to be my 5-minute period. What you're going to do in that 5 minutes is 3 simple habits. The first one you're going to work on is loving yourself. The first thought that I want you to have when you sit down to have a little moment to yourself is something positive about you. This is one of my motivational tips and tricks that works for all of my clients, no matter what they're working on. So do you remember that one pillar focus? Right now, we are focusing on mental health. So that is our one pillar. I want you to come up with something that you love about yourself in regard to mental health. What is that one thing, that one thought that you can use to provide yourself with a little bit of self-belief, with a little bit of confidence, with a little bit of knowing, I got this? That one pillar is mental health, and your one happy thought needs to be your favorite attribute about yourself. I'm not talking about physical, because we're not working on physical health. We're working on mental health. So what is something that you are good at internally? Maybe you are a really, really kind person. That could be your happy thought. I am kind. It needs to be an I am statement or an I have statement so that it applies to you, so that you really feel connected to it. So what is your one happy thought? Maybe it is that you are a really good mom. So that can be your one happy thought. That can be your one thought that you go to. As soon as you close your eyes and you hold and you be still, what is that positive thought that you know and believe deeply about yourself? What could that be for you? Our mental health is our focus. So something internal within you that you know and believe about yourself. If this exercise is hard for you, text your mom, text your sister, text your best friend. They will help you to find what is a wonderful thing about you. Sometimes coming up with your favorite thing or the very best thing is a little bit difficult, but just come up with a great thing that you love about yourself. I am this. I am confident. I am organized. I am efficient. I am compassionate. Whatever it is about you that you believe about yourself, something you know to be true, that needs to be the first thought that comes into your head when you slow down. When you get stressed and you get into these complicated situations, especially during this busiest time of year, all the hustle bustle, when you take your 5 minutes to slow down, and that first thought that comes to your mind is your one happy thought, it's not only going to give you a little bit of break from all the stress, but it's also going to give you a little bit of confidence that you can do it. Whatever it is that you have to get done that day, this is going to provide you with just a little bit of mojo, a little bit of motivation from deep within yourself, because you believe it. You know this to be true about yourself. So that's step number 1. Slow down, take 5 minutes, and think your one happy thought. Step number 2 is to make yourself happy. Think, what can you do that day that connects to you? For me, something simple that I can add to my day, so that what I'm already doing, is listening to music. I absolutely love listening to music. And I know that when I do have my earbud in my head and I'm listening to, for me, it's motivational, high beat, high vibe music. That's what makes me happy. Even just a few minutes of that a day makes a difference in the way that I feel and the way that I connect with myself. So you have your one happy thought. And now your second thought needs to be, what can I do today to connect to me? Maybe you're an artist. Maybe you need to spend 2 minutes just coloring or drawing or doing something. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece, something simple. Maybe you're a musician and you need to sit down at the piano and play for 5 minutes. Remember, this is only 5 minutes. If you want to do longer than that, spectacular. Take as much time as you can to take care of yourself and your mental health, because it is hugely and vastly impactful on your entire life. But under this one pillar focus, I want you to really hone in on what is personal to you. What can you do that appeals to your soul? What is felt deep inside you? Maybe you are a businesswoman and you have a million things to do that day, and it's sort of making you feel stressed. What is one thing you can add to your day that will bring you a little bit of a lift? Maybe you need to do a couple of jumping jacks. Maybe you need to run up and down your stairs. Maybe you need to go for a quick walk. Next Zoom call, instead of sitting at your desk for it, go outside and go for a walk. Bundle up, take your phone with you. Do something that makes you happy 5 minutes a day, every single day in the month of December. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is peace. Find some stillness, some peace. And this, again, comes from inside you. The meditation concept that is in the world right now is huge. And I love that that is such a big push, because people are learning that slowing down, even just for a few minutes, makes a huge difference in their lives. So that peace now, I want you to clear your mind. Doesn't mean that you're preventing thoughts from coming in and out. A lot of people feel a little bit of anxiety about meditation because their brain is so constantly moving. They're like, I can't stop it. And that's okay. Don't feel pressure to stop your thoughts. You let your thoughts come in, you acknowledge them, and then you let them go and you come back to your center. For me, my center is my breath. I just count my breath. I count in for 5 seconds. I count out for 8 seconds. In for 5, out for 8. And I do this for 5 to 10 minutes. Again, it doesn't have to be a long time. You don't have to meditate for hours at a time in order to feel the benefit. This is personal to you, to your life, and to what works for you. But I encourage you to do at least 5 minutes, because you'll be able to feel a difference just within a couple of days of doing this. Again, if your schedule is so busy and you're like, I can't find 5 minutes in my day, it's worth your time to wake up 5 minutes earlier. Just sit with yourself. The first minute, think your happy thought. The second minute, think, what can I do today to provide a little bit of happiness and connection with myself? And then your next 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, just sit in stillness. Sit on those thoughts. Sit on how you connect with yourself, how you love yourself that day. Sometimes when I'm doing my breath counts, I'll breathe in and I'll think of something that I want to bring into my life. So I'll breathe in success and I will exhale stress. In success, exhale stress. For you, it might be that you're inhaling confidence, exhaling doubt, inhaling confidence, exhaling doubt. For 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, this doesn't take a long time. All you're doing is you're giving your brain permission to release, to find peace, to find a little bit of stillness with yourself. And that is the key. In today's world, we're so often looking outside of ourselves to find that connection, to find that happiness, to find what fills us with a little bit of joy. I want you to find that from inside yourself. Once you master that concept, once you master understanding how you can motivate and love and encourage yourself and find peace within yourself, you're able to handle every situation so much easier. You're not going to be able to control what happens in your life. I mean, some things are absolutely in our control, but there are many, many things that are not. We share a world with billions of other people, and they all have their own agency as well. They get to make their own choices, and sometimes those choices affect you. Sometimes those affect you positively. Sometimes they affect you negatively. But if you are able to find that stillness, find that peace, find that self-love and that connection with yourself from deep inside yourself, those situations won't take over your life. They might affect a few parts of your life. That's okay. And that's understandable. And that is part of living. That's just part of how we grow. When we have things impact us and change us, when we have to adapt, when we have to change and grow, that is where we become better people. But if, on the other hand, we're not prepared for it, if we're not connected to ourselves and we're not able to find peace in difficult times, then those difficult circumstances, when we find ourselves in them, they're going to have a negative effect on our lives instead of a positive effect. The subject of toxic positivity came up the other day when I was on a podcast, and they said, "Do you believe in toxic positivity?" And I said, toxic positivity is just misunderstanding of positivity. Because it's not that you don't expect there to be negative things in your life. Absolutely, there are going to be things that you don't want. There are going to be things that you don't want to do. There are going to be people you don't want to deal with. You can't just remove that and expect everything to be sunshine and rainbows. But what you can do is have a little bit of center inside yourself that you can go to and you can depend on. That's the key. Positivity doesn't come from knowing everything is good all the time. It comes from knowing that you can get something out of whatever happens. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who was very close to me. She was my neighbor, and she passed away from liver cancer a few years ago. And toward the end of her life, we were able to rally around her and help her family and spend time with her and see her a lot, but she deteriorated quickly. It was only about a month of time where it went from knowing that she had cancer to when she passed away. And that was a really difficult time for her family, for lots of us, for her friends, for her people who cared about her. And we all wondered why. She was such a good person. We all wondered, why did this happen? And for some people, it was really, really hard to deal with. And they kind of started to question, like, why would this awful thing happen to such a good person? I wondered myself, like, what in the world? Why? And then a couple years later, my grandmother was diagnosed with the same kind of cancer. And the doctor told my family, my mom's family, that she had between 6 months to a year to live. And based on what I had experienced with my friend with a year prior, I noticed where my grandma was at. I noticed what her skin looked like. I noticed what she was doing, what she was able to comprehend, and what her mind was experiencing. And watching that happen, I was able to tell my family, I don't think it's going to be that long. I think we need to spend as much time with her now as we can. So my mom was able to get her siblings and everybody there, and we were able to spend lots of time with grandma. Within 6 weeks, she had passed away. The doctor had given 6 months, and within 6 weeks, she had passed away. So from learning from an experience that I'd had that was really, really difficult to see, really, really difficult to be a part of, my friend's, the end of her life. But what I was able to learn from that, I was able to share with someone else who meant a lot to me, who was able to help me understand what my grandma was going through and how to get our family around earlier than maybe we would have otherwise, so that we all were able to spend time with her. Those were two awful situations, to watch my friend pass away and to watch my grandma pass away. Both of those things were incredibly difficult. But because of what I had learned, I was able to find a little bit of peace in that circumstance. So I encourage you to do the same thing. In this hustle bustle time of year, take your 5 minutes a day and slow down. Find your inner peace, find your inner confidence. Use that one happy thought to release the stress and give yourself a little bit of confidence. I said that it could be an I am statement or an I have statement. The I have statement would be something that you have gone through, that you've come out on top of before. I have defeated this before. I have conquered this before. I have managed this before. So that way, when you get back in that situation, you find yourself there, you have that guiding thought to tell you, that's true, we're back here, but we've been here before and we know what to do now. So give yourself a little bit of credit, give yourself a little bit of happiness and confidence in that you know what to do because of what you learned last time. So again, the 1, 2, 3 steps of habit formation are 1, focus, 1 pillar, 2, superpowers, your conscious and subconscious, and 3, habits, 3 daily tasks that you can do that will help you under that 1 focus. So as December being our mental health month, our first week here, I want you to, your 3 habits that I want you to work on are within 5 minutes of time. 5 minutes a day for the next month, I want you to do 3 things. 1, think your happy thought. I am, I have, and make sure that it relates to your 1 focus, your 1 pillar. So I am confident. If you're working on your mental health, your happy thought needs to be something that mentally you believe about yourself, some quality about yourself that you know to be true. Or an I have, which is an experience that you've had before regarding your mental health that you have overcome or learned from or gained a little bit of confidence in. So that's your first habit. I have or I am. Just a quick thought that you just think to yourself anytime you need it. Anytime you need it. That's the beauty of this 1 happy thought. If you're stressed out in the morning, think your 1 happy thought and it will help you get through your day. If you're at work and you're just feeling swamped and overwhelmed, think your 1 happy thought and it will give you a little bit of confidence and a little bit of clarity to be able to focus on what you're doing right now. If you are a mom and you just have these little kids that are all over you all day long and you think, what in the world am I going to do? Just 1 little happy thought. I have done this before. I have lived many, many days of this and I absolutely can do it. I am patient. I am confident. I am a wonderful, compassionate mom. Those are your happy thought. Come up with 1 thing that you can think that will help you to connect with yourself. Step number 2 is, speaking of that self-connection, think about what you can do today to make you happy. Chase your own personal happiness. Maybe it's music, maybe it's art, maybe it's getting outside, maybe it's exercise, whatever it might be for you. Find a little bit of time that day to connect with yourself. If you have a super busy day, do something super simple. If you have a little bit of extra time, take a little bit of extra time to do that thing. Connect with yourself in a way that is personal to you. I always say that if you chase someone else's happiness, you may never find it. But if you chase your own happiness, you'll find it every single time. And habit number 3 is stillness, sitting in peace with yourself. This might just be a couple of minutes. This might be a full half hour, whatever it is for you, whatever you have time for, take the time to do it. Just breathe in what you want and exhale what you need to release. Breathe in confidence, exhale self-doubt. Breathe in success, exhale stress. This is what stillness is about, is being able to be with you. A lot of us, again, like I talked about, always searching for those outside sources to bring us happiness, to bring us fulfillment and success and joy. It starts within yourself. If you know what you're doing matters, that's all you need. Everything else in your life will mean more to you if it starts from here first. I absolutely believe in you, and I know that you can do this. And I want you to start making this a habit, not just one thing that you do once in a while, but if you do this daily for the next 30 days, your brain will start to make those long-term connections. Remember those two superpowers? For 30 days, your conscious mind needs you to focus on it. 30 to 40 days, it needs to be a conscious decision. Then after 40 to 60 days, as you get into the new year and this starts to become natural for you and habitual, after about 40 to 60 days, this will no longer require your time, effort, or energy. It will just be part of who you are. That's the magic of your mind. That's the magic of your two incredible superpowers. By focusing on one thing, making 3 habits, you can harness the power of those two superpowers together and absolutely improve the quality of your life. So starting today, work on 3 things that you can do within just a couple of minutes to have your one happy thought, your one guiding happy thought that you know and believe about yourself. I am, I have, that applies to your one pillar. Step number 2 is your connection with yourself. Find a little bit of happiness that is personal to you. And then number 3 is stillness. Find a few minutes to just be with yourself. By exercising the power of the 1, 2, 3 habit system, you simplify life, you simplify the pathway to progress so that you can start progressing today. You can see the progress you're making. And then that progress becomes permanent. These are no longer on again, off again, fall off the wagon kind of things. These are permanent changes that you're making in your amazing mind and in your amazing life. And once these start to become habitual, you free up that conscious space so that you can work on the next area. You can work on the next pillar, the next focus. And that's where you start to progress in many areas of your life, but you still only have to think about one. Free yourself from the stress and the overwhelm of changing everything, of doing it all. You can have it all. Just don't do it all at once. Pick one thing at a time, master that, let it become habitual, and then use your incredible mind to move on to the next thing and the next and the next. And as you're forming these simple daily habits, you're creating massive progress, massive change in your future. And you're able to see all along the way the changes that you're making. You're able to see what you are doing and what you are capable of. With this I am and I have statement, once you use it a couple of times, you're going to be able to use it so much easier. You'll find that things just become easier to you because it becomes more natural. Practice makes perfect. And this is one of those things that if you practice it, it absolutely will make a massive difference in your life. So your 1, 2, 3, remember those 3 things. You can fit them in within 5 minutes. Again, this doesn't have to be a huge part of your day. This doesn't need to be a giant change in your schedule. I know how busy you are. I am there as well. We all are at this time of year. We're pushing toward the end of the year. We're wanting to make all the progress and do all the things before this year ends so that we can start next year on the right track. Form those 3 mental health habits and help yourself start next year with an incredible foot forward, incredible kickstart. Find your happiness, find your one happy thought, and find a little bit of stillness. This is kind of like, have you guys heard of the DARE program? This is where they teach kids to stay off drugs in 6th grade hopefully before they've been in the situation where they've been offered drugs and alcohol. And so they teach these kids to say no. They teach these kids how to respond in these situations before they get into them so that they're ready, so that they have a response before it happens. They train them when it's in a safe, controlled environment so that when it becomes a stressful and uncontrolled situation, they're equipped, they are ready, they are prepared. It's the same thing with these mental health habits. If you can sit every morning with yourself and find peace and find your one guiding happy thought, find your confidence and find what makes you happy, then when those crazy times come, when it rains, it pours, right? When those difficulties come up in our lives, and they will, they absolutely will. We all know this. There's no way to avoid tragedy. There's no way to avoid uncontrolled circumstances, but what we can control is how we respond in those situations. And if you've taken the time to practice before you get there, you will be prepared, you will be fully equipped, and you will be ready. It's amazing what a little bit of time can do, a little bit of time with yourself can do for your life. I encourage you to start today. A lot of people think, okay, well, I've got to line some things up before I can start this. Nope, start today. I want you to start before you feel like you're ready. What is your one guiding thought? Ask yourself right now, what is one trait about yourself that you believe to be your best or one of your greats? What are you really, really good at? Maybe you are really organized. Maybe you are really compassionate. Maybe you are really patient. Maybe you are really kind, caring, giving, generous. One of those things applies to you. Use that as your one guiding thought and think it every day as often as you can, so that when those tough times come, you are ready. You have a defense to fight against self-doubt, to fight against fear, to fight against overwhelm. All it takes is one thought, because as you think that one thought, your train of thought goes from spiraling to negativity, turns around and heads toward positivity, confidence, and the ability to succeed. All with one thought. It seems so simple, but it works incredibly well. You won't know until you try. So I encourage you to try. Start today, think your one happy thought, sit with yourself in stillness, and chase your personal happiness. If you are picking up what I'm putting down and you're loving the idea of forming habits, I've got several resources for you to help you to dive into more of these concepts. Learn more about your conscious and subconscious mind, about how these connect to you and how you can apply this system to lots of areas of your life. I've got my book, which is called Life Conscious by Susie B. It's available on Amazon. Or I have my website, which is livelifeconscious.com, www.livelifeconscious.com. Or you can find me on social media at Susie B Life. Any of those ways are great resources for you to get a little bit of help, get a little bit of support. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is that support. If you need some support of just people that you know you can be safe around, people that can help you to find your one guiding thought, people that can help you to understand your stillness and understand what that can do for you, you can also jump in my free Facebook group. I have a community of people who are working on themselves, working on improving their lives and living life conscious, which is living life on purpose with purpose, finding happiness now, generating habits so that we can find happiness at the future at the same time. That group is facebook.com/groups/Susie B Life. You're welcome to jump in there with us and join this community of amazing people who are all working on progressing and simplifying the pathway to progress, just like you. All right, so the last thing I want to talk to you guys about today is if you are loving this idea, if you're really feeling this and you're ready to go, but you're not sure how to do it, or you're not sure if you can do it, let me offer you the Habits, Health, and Happiness 4-month Habits Coaching Program. This starts every month, and we work on 2 months of physical health, a workshop of goal setting, and then 2 months of your next top priority. Whatever means the most to you in your life. We're going to form habits in both of those 2 areas and help you master your mindset, your confidence, your habits, and your life. Thanks for tuning in today, you guys, and we will see you next week on Habits, Health, and Happiness. I'm Susie B. Happy to have had you here today, and I appreciate you guys being here.